Going on to investigations, of course, you usually hear about it as soon as the employee hears about it, but not always. Sometimes we'll get a last-minute phone call or something saying I'm supposed to be at an IG interview in an hour. And of course, under the Peace Officer Bill of Rights, they're supposed to give you 48 hours notice, and usually the department complies with that. And usually several days notice, but the reps don't always hear about that. My office doesn't always hear about that until last minute sometimes for whatever reason, whether they don't think it's serious enough or forgot about it. I've heard all sorts of excuses, but certainly you want to meet with the member before that interview. So I always set aside at least an hour, if not more, if depending on the allegations, of course, to talk to the member, find out what's going on. A lot of times the notice is so general, they're supposed to give you the reason for the investigation or the interview. It's not a whole lot of specifics sometimes, so even the members are left thinking, what did I do wrong? But usually they have a pretty good idea, and then it's a matter of getting them to tell you about it, which as an attorney, I can tell them, I'm representing you. There's a attorney-client privilege that you can tell me whatever you want to, and hopefully everything that you can about this incident, and it doesn't go any further. It's a little bit different with you because there is a confidentiality still in 289 for the peace officers, but it's just trying to you either develop a relationship with that member if you don't already have one at your institution to get them to trust you, and that's usually the step that it takes to get them to tell you everything before they tell it to the IG investigator or the supervisor, whoever's conducting the investigation, which lately it seems to be the IG's office on everything, but that's the institution's call, the IG's office, the director, whoever happens to be involved, based on the severity of the allegations. So as far as interviewing the employee ahead of time, you want to find out there's 5 different areas you want to explore, and I'm on page 4 of the rep manual right now. Basically why, what, where, when, and how, all those questions that need to be answered going in to an interview that, again, you want to know about, and just refresh the member's recollection as well as far as what happened, so that they can be accurate and to the point when the interview does take place. Most importantly is to look at documents. I mean, that's one thing that I need, you need from the member, at least the IA notice if nothing else, but then anything else related to it. If there are other reports that were written for the incident, certainly try to get copies of those to review them with the member prior to the interview. You don't necessarily have to provide those things to the IG investigator. Usually they have them, but not always. So keep that in mind. If it's something helpful, then certainly make a copy and provide it to the investigator. If not, then just keep it to yourself, and we'll worry about that down the road if and when there's a disciplinary action. To that note, I've passed out, or Gene has passed out, and we'll include this in the rep manual, a new matter information form that is basically a cover page that you can fax to me along with the member's information and documentation so that we can get a hold of the member. You have it on for your records to contact the member, and it's something we can follow up on because we've got a computer system that tracks all that, which allows us to put in notes and things like that as far as the progress and status of an investigation or disciplinary action. Certainly if you can talk to the investigator or whoever's involved in the investigation ahead of time as a representative, I encourage you to do that, to try to get some kind of heads up on what the nature of the allegation is, how serious it is. A lot of times the investigators will tell you, this is nonsense. It's an inmate complaint, but they're just CYA on things like that and risk management, whatever it happens to be. And usually they're you can trust them as far as whether it's serious or not, and you'll probably have a pretty good idea after you talk to your member about it. But try to do that. I encourage that. And develop that working relationship. I know it's one of those things, it's an adversarial almost setting as far as the IG's office and these investigators or even supervisors sometimes, but it's one thing as representatives you want to develop so that you can get that information from the investigators ahead of time if you can, and not just be blindsided sometimes by the investigators. Talk to other association reps. If you have an issue that you've heard has come up before, or the member says something about, then talk to one of the longer time employees or reps that you have at the institution, or call another institution to find out about it. So if there's, we want some consistency. I know that's the one thing that the department seems to be lacking statewide these days, but if you have that information and something, again, that's helpful to the member's situation at the time, then pass that along to the IG's office or the investigator so that he or she could look into it and see if there's truly some disparate treatment there as far as how they're handling that particular member compared to how they've handled members in the past. And last but not least, give me a call. Give Nancy a call. Of course, the number is 775-885-1896 for the office. If you have any questions, that's why we're here. That's why we're on retainer to be at your call when you need us. I think certainly call my cell phone as well, 775-741-1986. If you have any questions, during the weekend, late night, whatever it happens to be. So don't hesitate. And then depending on, again, the severity of the allegations, nature of the incident, I can handle it. If you're not comfortable in doing it, I prefer to have it, have a call from one of the officers or directors, the main reps at the institutions, rather than getting calls straight from members. But that's an issue that NCA needs to deal with as far as how things are funneled up to my office, just to limit my involvement on certain things and let you make that call rather than me make the call as far as how serious it may be and whether I need to be involved or not.